Well, you old so-and-sos. What I was saying is the glasses. I says to this fella, I says, fuck you, whoever was making fun of my glasses. I already forgot. In one ear, out the goddamn other. And I said, you know, I've been looking at the TV screen. It's a monitor. It's not a TV screen, you old so-and-sos. I've been looking at the, fuck you, Nomad. I've been, oh, God. You know what? Fuck you, Spasbo. That pop filter looks really gross. Let me tell you something. And then I need a producer. Incoming, I need a producer. Fuck you, Nomad. Listen to me. I am not one of these, and I think I've earned, I think this should earn your respect, okay? I am not one of these Twitch, YouTube streamer people that has a teeny tiny fucking little audience or even a medium-sized little fucking audience and is like, I'm going to buy all the shit. Okay, I don't have the, I'm not Colin Moriarty. When you get to Colin Moriarty level and you have like a bajillion fucking subs on Patreon, that is when I will splurge on the gear. Like the fucking arm and all that stuff that makes my mic look cool and the pop filter and shit. Right now it's literally sitting in a Chaffee can like Oscar the Grouch. It's just ripped apart. I've had it for a long time. So the point is, I'm not even going to worry about that shit. So no, I'm doing this bare bones. I'm doing this like a fucking, you know, fly-by-night operation in case I have to run really fast when the government comes. So anyway, what I was saying is I've been staring at the screen all day because, and I'm sorry I'm late. I really do apologize. I really do. I apologize because there was a lot of membership stuff to get to today. If you're curious, all of the God of War gifts have gone out for January. That is the Fallen Gods graphic novel trade paperback. Jill was here today. She sent those out. I also want to let you know that we are putting 2 more names on the wheel later in today's show in order to get the God of War graphic novel out to a non-member, or they can be a member, but whoever wins that trivia game. So you'll have an opportunity to get it if you are not. But it collects the first 4 issues of God of War Fallen Gods, which is a comic with the best Kratos, which is my Kratos back in the day when he's trying to get rid of the Blades of Chaos. 2 quick things real quick I got to let you know. John Manick and the Forgotten Dumpling, brand new members of the Gods of War. I appreciate it very, very much, fellas. I got books here for you with your name on them, but what I don't have from you is I don't have your name. I don't have your real life names and your real life addresses. So if you're watching this, please hit me back because you're not on the Discord either, so I don't know how to get you this stuff. Also, our good friend yesterday, what you're looking at right here is what our good friend yesterday, G Million, won by becoming a member, by spinning the wheel. This went out today as well to you, G Million. This is a original, one of the very first notes. Oh, you can't see the screen. I'm sorry. This went out today. This is the original, one of the very first notes that I took when the game was still called Dark Odyssey. It was not God of War, and we didn't even know who Kratos was. This is probably 2 years before that. I wrote you a letter explaining what some of this stuff is, but if you kind of parse through it, you can get a lot of details. Here's like a Pegasus mechanic with Kratos hanging from it and flying. There was underwater stealth. There was a mental illness god and shit. There was a lot of interesting stuff. This is the original. It's signed along with a letter, so that's going out today. The one thing I do want to let you know is one guy yesterday, I think it was CG3D, I think that's his name, we were not able to get that out to you because I honestly cannot fucking find the document. Believe that or not. I cannot find the God of War document that you won yesterday. So I'm going to look for it this week. And if I can't find it, I'll run some things by you in sending. I'll send you something else. But that's why it didn't go out today. Let me get this super chat real quick. I think it's a super chat. Yeah, we got a super chat already. It's from good sir Jacob Martin. Thank you, buddy. He says, here you go. Buy yourself some cool shit like Colin. You know what? I appreciate that, buddy. I really, really do, Jacob. It's not that I don't have the funds, although thank you for contributing to the funds that I do have. I appreciate it. It's more that it's almost like a bad luck thing for me personally. It's like I've seen these Twitch guys and YouTube guys and girls that get all the gear, the cool headsets, the gamer chair, they got the microphone, they got the lighting and all this shit. And nobody comes to show up, nobody cares, nobody watches them, or if they do, it's a very small little thing. And it just feels to me presumptuous until you get to the level of someone like a Moriarty that you say, okay, now I'm ready to play with the big boys. That's all I'm saying. Speaking of Nomad, thank you so much, buddy. Nomad has become a member of the Diet Soda Soldiers. We will reach out to Nomad later today and spin the wheel for him towards the end of the show. Colby the Dragon. If you're watching Colby the Dragon, when we get to the story, and it'll be in a couple of minutes, it'll be probably in about 25 minutes about Kratos and what color is Kratos. Colby the Dragon is the guy who reached out to me a number of months ago, and then he re-reached out to me talking about Kratos' color, and there's just been a lot of people talking about it recently, and I was just like, you know what? Let's have this conversation. So Colby, I hope you'll be around in about 20, 25, 30 minutes when we get to that. But for now, we're going to dive into some other news first. Jaffe, EA was bought by Microsoft, just announced. I don't believe you. I don't believe you at all. You just got done playing an 8-hour session of Halo. Man, that's great, dude. We're going to talk a little bit about ranked Halo in a minute. But that's amazing. I don't think I've ever played a straight multiplayer game that long. It always annoyed me, says Zaf, that post God of War 2018, people said Kratos was for the first time relatable. The man was tricked into killing his family, sells his soul, and attempts suicide in the opening cutscene. What the fuck? No, I know. I mean, I don't. It doesn't really fucking bother me. But it does in that I find it annoying. But it's like whatever. But you can go back and tell yourself that God of War 2005 and then the second and the third one were absolutely mouth breather bra games. But you're absolutely right, Zaf. We put a lot of effort into making that character interesting. Okay. Give money to your local food shelf. Thanks for the super chat, Scott Woodford. I don't know what my local food shelf is. On one hand, I thought you were talking about maybe like give money to a food shelter, and then maybe you were saying put it on the fucking in my shelf. I don't fucking know. Listen to this. Dustin Furman from you're a fucking spy. Fuck you, Dustin. Let me tell you something. I used to think we were pals. We maybe weren't pals yet. We don't know each other that well, but I thought we were on the way to being good pals. Good fucking platonic pals. Let's be clear, it was platonic, Dustin. If you don't know, Dustin's one of the producers or the producer for the Colin Moriarty show, Sacred Symbols, over there at Sacred Symbols or Last Media fucking Standing, whatever. So I tune into the goddamn Sacred Symbols Plus Colin show the other day, and what do I hear? Little Dustin has gone to his boss and said, Colin, sir, David Jaffe says he's better looking than you. First off, Dustin, you're a fucking traitor, you fuck. Second off, I am almost certain I didn't say that, or if I did, I hope to God you guys know it wasn't just. Dustin, it's good to see you. Seriously though, Dustin says, I think we could upgrade your production without any major investments. I would love it, Dustin. I would love it, but it's more about it's less about investments and more about me just not wanting to come across like a douchebag. It doesn't have a big enough audience to deserve such quality. However, it's ironical because a lot of people would say in order to get such an audience, you got to increase the quality. So we'll talk about it. I appreciate that, Dustin. I didn't delete any fucking emails. I literally have one hard copy and I cannot find it. Okay, hang on. Jaffe, why do you always make us wait for the good topics? I think they're all good topics, but I absolutely put, the big story a little deeper into the show in hopes that people will enjoy the rest of it. If you don't want to stick around for the whole show, I'll put a time code on this tonight or tomorrow and you can watch it later. Okay. I just don't want to miss this super chat, but we're going to get into the first story. Hang on a second. Oh, there it is. Would you fart on stream, says G Million. I don't fart. It's really, really fucking weird. I think, did I ever tell you this story? Oh, Papi. You know when streamers do... Listen, let me tell you something. Listen to me. I remember, I may have told the story before, but it's one of my favorite stories. So my girlfriend, who became my wife and now my ex-wife, now a good friend, I held my farts in forever with her. And she was over at my apartment one night, and she's laughing on my bed, and she just, total big one. And I was like, oh shit, this is mortifying for her. And she just starts fucking laughing and laughing and laughing. And I say, that's the lady for me. That's my story. Thank you. Okay, but Nomad, thank you for being a member. Okay, so Joel, thank you, buddy. He says, I love the show, Jaffe. I appreciate that, man. Where's your thing, man? Thanks, buddy. He's very generous. He says, Jaffe, I love the show. I wanted to say, as a PS5 owner, I'm actually excited to see what kind of creative games come out of Sony first party in response to Activision's purchase. I'm hoping this leads to new IP. We are actually going to talk about that in just a little bit, Joel, in regards to sort of a really interesting thread over on NeoGAF about Sony's first party output that a lot of people don't talk about. You hear people talking about Uncharted, and you hear people talking about Last of Us and God of War and whatnot, and Ghost of Tsushima. This is pretty interesting. We'll get exactly to that point that you bring it up. And again, thank you for that generosity, buddy. I really appreciate it. Colin's a good-looking dude, but well, yeah, there's no doubt, David. My beard is 1,000 times better than Colin's, but Colin's a better-looking dude than I am. Hello, Adam. Good to see you, buddy. Okay. Where did that go? Okay. Okay. Sorry, fellas. I want to show you one thing, and let me get this super chat, which I very much appreciate. Thank you, pal. It'll come on a second. It's not here on the screen yet. Papa Jaffe, my uncle's in process of passing away. Do you have any kind of juju or advice to help go through things like this? For him or for you? For him. Let me tell you something. And I'm not even fucking. We'll get to the news. I promise we will. We'll get to the news. There's a lot of good news to talk about today. I know this is a game stream, but sometimes it's just fun to talk to you motherfuckers. I am hung. That's true tones. I had a girl in college once say I was surprisingly large. That was my favorite. Surprisingly. That's even better than like, oh my God, you're huge. I knew it. It's more like, I thought you would be small, and you're fucking a surprise. Point is this, though. Your uncle. So I have been following a number of people on TikTok that are like hospice nurses, right? Because I'm always fascinated by their stories of people on their deathbeds. And there is a very consistent story that they tell, like 40-50% of the time they'll say, yeah, that person was in the process of dying, and they would see relatives and loved ones. And sometimes they would see people that they didn't know, but it brought them great delight and great happiness. So what I would fucking say is, if your uncle is still cognizant, I would sit with him and say, look, unless he doesn't know he's dying, and say, this has got to be terrifying, it's got to be sad, be comforting, but go, look, I want to tell me if you're seeing some of this shit. I want to know. I asked my dad that, and my dad knew. My dad said, yeah, I'm seeing this, I'm seeing that. Fuck you, Darth Nugget. Go fuck yourself. What do you think of the YouTube channels that only hate Sony? I think anybody that hates any company, a company that's done bad things, I think that's great to hate them. But to hate Sony, why? Even if you don't like it. Okay. Look at this, and then we're going to talk about Elden Ring just for a brief moment. But I got to show you this. I don't know what to tell you about that, man. I don't know what to tell you about that, except that's a thing you can find on the internet. Describe this toilet with only one word. I don't know anything about that. All I know is this is someone's toilet. And I don't think it's a covering. I think it exists because you are supposed to sit on that, right? I don't know, but I had to show this. Grave Doll says comfy. Carlos is fancy. I think it's disgusting. Guy 505 says gross. I'm with you, pal. That's the most disgusting fucking toilet I've ever seen. The only thing that would make this triply disgusting would be to get like a carpet in the bathroom. Yeah, grandmother, says Sergio. Totally. Oh God. John Flattery says smears. Oh my God. Oh God. Amon says you would never need toilet paper. Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ. Okay. Scott Woodford wants his right leg back. I'll see what I can do, sir. All right, moving on. Let's talk about this. I don't read magazines anymore. I mean, for the most part, I really don't. There's no need to. There's no reason to, right? This is the first time I've actually been interested in what a magazine, especially a magazine in the video game industry, has to offer. This is the cover for the new Game Informer. Here's why it's interesting to me. It has 18 pages of Elden Ring data information, including an interview, which is not all that common in America, an interview with the creator of this game and Bloodborne and Souls, Miyazaki. So I am actually looking forward to this appearing online. I'll probably buy a digital issue and go through it. The weird thing about this is that, you know, I'm not a guy that gets caught up in the hype a lot. What the goddamn Sam Hill's that pig make doing over there? I'll get that super chat in a second. I don't get caught up in the hype, okay? But something about Elden Ring, I don't know if it's the Martin writing or just it looks amazing or the fact that I just enjoy Demon's Souls so much. I'm really excited for this game. But so I reinstalled Bloodborne last night and I'm like, you know what? I made it pretty fucking far in Demon's Souls. I think I could. People tell me Bloodborne's great. I've tried it 4 fucking times at this point, and I said I'm gonna fucking try this game, and I'm gonna try to find why I can't enjoy it, because if I enjoy Demon's Souls, I should enjoy this. And so I downloaded it last night. I played it for about an hour, and once again, I was just like, fuck this. Fuck this. I'm done. Right? And I started thinking, it's like, what was it? Like, I figured out how to kill that big guy by the carriage at the beginning. I was being very careful. I was enjoying it. And then I got to, this is at the very beginning. And then you're walking down that long street with the guys patrolling and the dogs and shit. And I was being really careful. I avoided the ambushes and all this shit. And then I get to the end of the street and these dogs, or one dog and one guy, comes out of me with nothing. No warning, and I'm dead within a couple of seconds, right? And I realized that, yeah, I'd lit the lantern. I could go back a little closer this time, but I had played for like 40 minutes, 30 minutes carefully, and I was just like, I can't do it. It may be my ADD brain, but I liked being in that zone where everything was deliberate and careful. But once I was out of that zone, I could not shift. I had no interest in shifting back in to that mindset. So I do think it is something that is kind of missing in my brain that would allow me to enjoy games like a lot of you guys enjoy games when it comes to something like Bloodborne. Because I assume what you guys do is when you play this game and you die, you kind of go, oh, okay, yeah, not a problem. I'm going to jump back in and I'm going to do it again. Although Diego is saying that's like the same part where everyone quits, which, I mean, that's kind of amazing to me then that it's gotten so much love. I guess there's enough people out there that enjoy that mentality of let me go back after I died, after spending an hour being very careful, and my brain is ready to jump right back into that mentality, right? I even, you know, I was looking this up. I'm not going to do it, maybe one day, but there's a, you know, the more I really dive deep into analyzing certain games, the more I wish somebody would do more studies about the brain in video games. I want to know 2 things right now. If I could commission a brain study about video games, I would say I would like to watch a 2-hour play session MRI of somebody playing a game that has absolutely no cutscenes, and they are immersed in the game from minute 1 to minute 120. And then I would like to do another one where it's the same player, playing, and both games would be great, highly rated games, really fun, the genre pick of that player, but a game that's more like God of War or Uncharted with cutscenes and moving the character and all that. I just have these theories, like certain parts of the brain are being rewarded when those things happen in shift, but it's causing disengagement from the other. And I would bet we would find that interactivity uninterrupted is probably a more immersive experience. I would also like to do an experiment like this Bloodborne thing. I would like to take people who love games like this and people like me and figure out what is happening in the brain at that moment of decision of you're going to go back in or I'm giving up. What's happening to cause me to say, I enjoyed that. I don't have it in me to do that again. Whereas somebody like, I assume a lot of you guys in the chat would go, you would play it and I'd want to know what's happening in your brain because you'd go, fuck it, I'm back in. Let's do it again. Bring it to me, right? So I'm fascinated by this shit. Totally fascinated by this shit. Zaf says he gets immersed in well-done cutscenes. Yeah, but it's a different. I understand that. I'm not saying cutscenes all suck. I don't like them, but I understand that. I'm saying that I think the brain, when you're watching something, when it's linear, non-interactive medium, it is a very different experience than when you're playing it. And I think when those things are bookended to each other over the course of a few hours, it creates this very ultimately unsatisfying for a lot of people, even though they may not recognize it because the cutscenes are good, system. And these are things I'd like to know. Like if a college came to me and said, Jaffe, you want to come teach game design? I'd say only if I can kind of run some studies like this. Not that I'm a scientist, but I want to know. I want to know how it fucking works. Most of the time, the frustration from Souls games makes me want to keep going, and it feels damn good when you finally kill the boss. Right. That's Ruddy Games talking. I don't have that. I don't have that. I don't have that sense of, yeah, fuck you, you're not going to beat me. I'm just like, okay, you win, fuck you. You're better than I am, monster. Diego says, for me, it's just love. I love so much the ambiance, exploration, and world that I just suck up the frustration and move forward. I'm with you 100% on the ambiance and exploration. I love the world of Bloodborne. I mean, it is disgusting. It must smell like holy hell. But it is such a neat take on sort of that Dickensian, Oliver Twist meets fucking horror that I'm just like, are you kidding me? This is a wonderful world. But I can't do it either. Nomad says Souls games are perfect for Game Pass. Gives people a chance to see if they like the genre. Sure. But I don't think, do they even have any Souls games? I don't think so. Yeah, Truth Teller, I'll get to it. We're going to talk multiplayer in a minute. Jaffe, is the feeling of achievement after you conquer the challenge that people chase, says Eric, is what they're chasing. I see. Yeah, I don't really ever feel, I don't have that. I don't know why. I don't know why this comes to mind, but what you just said, Eric, it's the feeling of achievement after you conquer the challenge. There is this theory, which I think makes sense, that people who are, like, whenever they say, oh, a lot of high-powered people tend to go to dominatrixes, and they say, well, why is that? It's like, well, they're so used to having power in their day-to-day, whether it's a man or a woman, it doesn't matter. That gives them a feeling of release that they can't get in the real world because they're in charge and in control most times, right? I wonder if that's kind of a similar thing going on here, not obviously with the sex part, but with, like, I feel like I have achievements in my life. And I'm not saying you don't. I'm not casting stones or anything, but I'm wondering if there's a correlation between having achievements already in your real life and then that level of satisfaction of achieving something in a game is a lesser reward. Whereas maybe in your own life, if you don't, if you work for somebody and you hate your job and you're not really you don't feel like you got a lot of control and power over your life, would this be a place where you get that? I mean, that's interesting. I think that's interesting. The Order 1886 had a similar world to Bloodborne, says Darth Nugget. Wish that game would have gotten a sequel. Well, I guess I can assure you that Ready at Dawn probably wishes it would have sold enough to get a sequel. Would Souls games work in VR? Of course. I think in a lot of ways I would probably be more successful with them in VR because, you literally can stay in one place and not trigger enemies, but you can kind of look around and get a little bit more bearings. Okay. Truth teller, if you ask me again, I'm not going to fucking respond. I've seen your chat. You want to talk about the multiplayer IP. I got it. We're not there yet. It's annoying. Stop. I said I saw it. Or keep doing it, and we'll have Rob have fun. When I was young, says Dougie Fresh, I felt joy overcoming a hard thing. As I'm aging, I'm 39 today. Hey, happy birthday, motherfucker. Good for you, sir. I've gotten enough challenges in daily life. I don't want to hit my head against the wall in a game. Yeah, I agree. I absolutely agree. Yeah, Truth Teller says, I got it. Yeah, settle the fuck down, baby. Come on, have a smoke of the pipe. Chill. Okay, we're going to move on in a second. We're going to talk about Sony possibly buying EA, according to some analysts, along with other things that may be coming down the line. But first, I want to get these super chats, which I'm very appreciative of. And members, thank you guys very, very much. Very kind, very courteous. The Aljo has super chatted. He says, look, Jeffy, I think you can make the best Warhawk remake possible, like it was on PS3. No story, just nonstop online fun, like Fortnite is for people now. Well, I didn't make Warhawk, so I assume if Sony wanted to do that, they would go and get Dylan, and he would try to bring the people of Lightbox back who made that game. But, you know, I saw there was a thread on NeoGAF, people talking about, hey, Sony needs to bring back Warhawk. I'm not. I know Warhawk's beloved. I'm not taking anything away from it. I'm saying that brand-wise, it's a niche cult hit, right? And so much of what made Warhawk, I believe, I didn't play it that much, but so much of what made it really special back in the day was it was one of the first console games that gave you the level of freedom to fly and be on foot and drive different vehicles, certainly on Sony's platform. And that's just normal now. There's nothing about that that's special. So really what you would be building on is the legacy of a cult hit. And then what else, right? I mean, so, you know, that would be my concern greenlighting Warhawk, which is it's not really a very strong brand. The only strength of the brand lies in a audience that adores it, but it's not a huge fucking audience. And ultimately, so many other games are doing now what made it special then, that I don't know if it makes a lot of fucking sense. But I hear you. Nelly, thank you for subscribing, buddy. Carl B. Man has become a member. At the end of the stream, we will absolutely spin that goddamn wheel for you, sir, along with anyone else who joins today. If you're still here, you got to be here when we spin the wheel. Johnny Flattery of the Finnegan Flatteries, which is a whole messy divorce. You don't want to hear about it. He says, I just joined this stream, Jaffe. Can we talk Sony multiplayer IP? Oh, my God. Oh, my God. You and Truth Teller, go get a room. Yeah, we'll talk about it in a minute. Thank you for the super chat, buddy. If Sony were to buy EA, I can see Microsoft creating their own sports titles. Well, fuck yeah, we'll get to that. We're about to get to that right now. Let me get this super chat and we will move forward. Johnny Flattery. No, I already talked to Johnny Flattery. Wait a minute. That's not John Flattery. Wait. John Flattery. God damn it, Maverick. I know who you are, John. I'm like, that doesn't look like John Flattery. You're a member, you fucker. Maxwell Quevedo drops super chat. I appreciate it. It's very generous, very courteous, sir. He says, look, Jeffy, they can't buy EA. They don't have the capital. They could try to buy Take-Two. It's a better company with way better franchises and way cheaper. Fuck it. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it right now. You get Rob the Mod. Rob the Mod, and thank you, by the way, Maxwell. It's very generous super chat. Thanks, buddy. Rob the Mod is chomping at the bit. He's had a rough couple of days. A lot of shit's been going down. He's like, I'm ready to fucking ban some motherfuckers. So y'all beware. He'll bend you over and show you where the horse bit him. I mean, you got to be careful with this son of a bitch. All right, we're going to move on. We're going to talk about some of these analysts. I want to tell you about this. Bloodborne. Check it out. Could Sony buy EA in response to Microsoft's deal for Activision? Analysts weigh in. Now, I want to explain this to you. There's a rag, as us in the biz. I'm not in the biz, I'm kidding. But there's like a newspaper thing called The Hollywood Reporter. It used to compete directly with Variety, Daily Variety, which I'm sure you've heard of, but it's kind of its own magazine now. They got a bunch of analysts together and they said, let's talk about what happened with Microsoft and Xbox, Microsoft, and Activision, and let's see what the industry is going to do to respond. So this is what it says. I'll read you some of these quotes real quick. This is from reporting by Eddie Mackich. The Hollywood Reporter, he writes, quotes analysts outlining their thoughts on potential acquisition targets, including EA. Analyst at the research firm Enders said that Sony might see EA as likely to be their favorite for an acquisition. The piece mentions how EA currently has a market cap of around $37 billion. So Sony might look to buy Ubisoft or Take-Two for a far cheaper price. So I don't know what the actual ability Sony has to get loans or to just buy with what they're currently worth. I don't know, I don't know how that works. Like, if it's important enough and they say, we have to recover, we have to strike back from this punch that we got from Microsoft when they acquired Activision. And we know PlayStation is responsible for the majority, or it's one of the two divisions, if not the main division, responsible for the majority of their profits and their money. They may go, look, we got to find a way to raise that money. Let's sell off some shit. I have no idea. I mean, I'm just speculating at this point. But when Maxwell says they can't buy EA, they don't have the capital, I don't think that's... I don't think it's like, gosh, we just need to save up 12 more billion and we'll have it. I think there are things companies do when they need to have the capital that a company like Sony could absolutely do. But that said, though, this is this analyst saying maybe. He's also saying maybe Ubisoft, maybe Take-Two. I wouldn't buy Ubisoft, but if I could afford Take-Two, I mean, Take-Two in some ways is, I don't know, EA is probably a better buy. EA is probably a better buy because both of the companies get you a really strong mobile presence, which Sony does not really have, right? So if you go with EA, you get their shit that they built off of, was it Jamdad or Glue Mobile, or they bought a bunch of those companies. If you go with Take-Two, you get Zynga, which they just acquired for $12 billion, right? And you get Grand Theft Auto. But EA, I'm telling you, with the Maddens and the FIFAs of the world and the Apex Legends of the world, I think Sony would be in a much better place if they could afford EA, but I don't fucking know. Sony could acquire a publisher, then sell off the parts they don't need, like buying Take-Two and then selling Zynga. Yeah, I don't know how that works. I don't know how long you have to own something. But there's all these regulatory rules and shit like that. But that said, though, ultimately, though, I don't think they should sell Zynga. I think they should get out there and get their mobile division in order. Carl B says Take-Two is GTA. Not really. I mean, obviously that's the crowniest of the crown jewels you're going to get, but you're going to get NBA 2K. There's a number of other things they do that are consistent big fucking money makers. Certainly NBA. But if it were me and it was my money, I would go buy. I would go acquire the EA. Lyro says $40 billion is Sony's cash in hand. I mean, none of us really know that, though, right? I mean, you can say that's what they have on the investor calls and stuff, but their ability to take out loans and their ability to make certain deals, that, it's not like you're looking in your piggy bank and going, well, we don't have the money. I mean, it is like that, but they have ways to get money, is all I'm saying. Not Sony's style, says CR3D. They rely on their quality over quantity. I mean, again, man, we talked it to death last week. Whether or not you think they should buy a big company like this is, I can't tell you what Jim Ryan and his bosses are thinking. I know for me, I think they're going to have a hard time continuing to be a direct competitor to Microsoft with these changes. Let me read you some other stuff. By the way, to you, CR3D, I can't find the design document you won yesterday. I'm sure it's around here somewhere. I looked for about 20 minutes today because all the other prizes went out. If I can't find it by this time next week when Jill comes for more mailing, I'll give you some options of some other things I can send you. So I apologize about that, but that's kind of where we're at. But it's got to be around here. I can't have lost that design document. Morgan says, why not buy 20 smaller devs at Sony? Because I think the issue is not so much we just need more games that we can slowly, cultivate over time and get to know the teams, and maybe this is a hit, maybe this is a flop. You buy Take-Two, you get Grand Theft Auto, you get NBA 2K, you get Zynga. It's done. It's one and done, right? Similarly with EA. But if you just buy a bunch of small studios, that's 20 brand new companies that you have to manage that you weren't managing before, and you don't know if they're capable of coming up with the next big hit. So, best would be 2K and Epic. You mean Epic buying 2K? I certainly think Sony would struggle to have the money, ALGO, to buy Epic. I don't know what Epic is worth. I'm pretty sure it's worth more than fucking EA is, though. But, you know, one of Sony's biggest mistakes was not pushing Vita harder. I don't agree with you, Tones. I think they pushed it and no one was interested. Sony's not an idiot. You know, people knew Vita was out there. Could they have pushed it? The best thing Sony could have done for Vita was actually getting individual studios to be Vita developers only. And none of this bullshit about, well, we'll do a Vita and a PS4 and we'll do a PS3. When we're finishing that up, we'll do a Vita port. They need to, when they do hardware, they need individual companies set up to be just about that hardware. That's the problem they always had with peripherals. They had that problem with Move. They have that problem with VR. Maxwell says, thank you, buddy, for the super chat. He says, they can definitely buy Capcom and Square combined. They are very cheap and you get so many great franchises. The thing, okay, yes, I would love that. I love those companies and I think they fit within Sony great. But I think a lot of people are looking at these kinds of deals now. They're not looking at them through the lenses of hardcore gamers, right? Capcom just announced they made like 47, what did they make? I don't want to throw that figure because I think I got it wrong, but they're doing really well off Monster Hunter right now and the new Resident Evil. They're doing great. But these are hardcore gamer purchases. I think what Microsoft has done is they've made a purchase that is not just about beating Sony or appealing to the rarely growing 200 million people who call themselves console gamers, and they have made a step to actually reach out to a much bigger piece of the pie, or at least to try to have their entertainment reach a much bigger piece of the pie. I think buying Capcom would be great, but I don't think that's, if Sony wants to continue to compete, that's not what they need. Another research company handler said Disney might look, this was interesting. I thought this was really interesting because it's kind of similar, right? All these companies are having to sort of, you know, purchase things to get into this game. Another research company handler said Disney might look to purchase EA. A great way for Disney to build upon its digital future and for the new CEO, who I hate, to step outside of Bob Iger's shadow to buy EA. This was interesting. Combining EA Sports with ESPN that Disney owns as well could create a lot of unique opportunities, like a real sports metaverse. I don't know what the fuck that is. Nobody does, but there you go. Handler went on to say that Disney has an existential question to consider. Do they want to be old or new media? Video games is a $200 billion global industry and growing. But Disney no longer creates their own games. They just give out their licenses. So the deals that are being made right now, are very different kinds of deals. You're not just talking about, hey, we bought Insomniac. Insomniac is great to make PlayStation do well. Of course, it was a wonderful purchase. But that it doesn't achieve the same thing as buying an Activision, an EA, a Take-Two, or whatnot. Let me get some of these super chats. I appreciate it, fellas. Future is about games with streaming, and GTA is the top game to have for your service. Are you talking about like Twitch streaming, or are you talking about streaming to your television without needing a console? I mean, certainly GTA is a great game to have regardless, but I don't necessarily see... Look, if you're talking about Twitch streaming and esports and all that shit, I certainly think EA is a more attractive group of people with all their multiplayer hits like Madden and FIFA and Apex Legends. So, you know, that's what I would say. Hood, thank you for subbing, buddy. I appreciate it. Sony can just issue more stock, says John Flattery. It happens very often. Right. I mean, that's what I'm saying. It's not like these companies are like, well, I got to cut 25 million lawns to make enough money, to get the cash. There are ways they work that allow them to maneuver, whether or not they're willing to or they want to. Who the fuck? I certainly don't know. Okay, Second Star Gaming, thank you for the sub. Okay, Let us move forward, though. So there you go. I mean, look, I thought that was really fascinating because the fact is we're seeing, I think these analysts, they're certainly smarter than I am about this shit. They are going to be saying we're going to be seeing a lot more of this shit than we are used to seeing because of what Microsoft did, which I think is interesting. Disney has one of the best balance sheets around, says John. Disney is king. Brian King says streaming not looking so hot with Netflix losing 100 billion value. Okay. I mean, streaming is, if you're talking television, movies, streaming is the absolute future. There's no doubt. Netflix's problems, they've already explained, and we talked about it last week. At least the CEO explained, it's the pandemic and this and that and the other. But the idea that people are going to go back to buying old media now after getting a taste of Netflix or HBO Max or Disney, no. That's at least linear narrative, no. That's not, I don't see that happening. Jaffe, in my opinion, says Bacon, Sony's response to Activision and Microsoft should be either Ubisoft or Take-Two. Yeah, I mean, certainly it would solve their service games problem if they had Grand Theft Auto. But I would go with Take-Two over Ubisoft in a heartbeat, in a fucking heartbeat. Yeah, stock market's on the futs right now, says Jacob. Everyone's losing billions in value. Yeah, I don't even look at my stocks right now. It's terrifying. EA have a bunch of licensed video games, says Jack, including all the sports games and Star Wars. I guess if Sony gets EA, they have Battlefield to combat Call of Duty. That's also a great point, Jack K. I hadn't thought of that. That's an absolute great point. I mean, I know Battlefield's in trouble right now, but you get EA, you get DICE. And can you imagine the quality of Sony's production management applied to something like a Battlefield, right? Because EA rushes it out. EA's like, we got to be out for Christmas. Don't matter. It's buggy. I don't give a fuck. Got to be out for Christmas. Okay. But imagine a Scott Rhodey, a Connie Booth, a Grady Hunt, one of those kind of people saying, I'm the external producer of this fucking thing, and we're going to give it Sony's MetaView. You can have something really special there. To see Sony take in their ability to make games externally and take one of those big properties that historically has been at one of these companies that are like, yeah, we care what we're doing, but we don't care so much we're going to give it the kind of love and attention that Sony does. I think that could be really interesting. Sony's capital, says Vitaphone. Thanks for being a member, by the way, for 4 months. I appreciate it, sir. He says, look, man, Sony's capital is divided between consumer electronics and film. The same could be said about Microsoft. Microsoft's a $2 trillion company. Sony's a $143 billion company. I think we all understand it's a smaller company. There's no doubt. But I think we also understand that Sony probably needs to do something or they're going to become GameCube. That's it. Okay. Hang on a second. I want to just get this. I don't want that to go anywhere. Okay. John Doe says, Jaffe, Sony should buy or create a big partnership with Kojima. Sure. I mean, it can't hurt. There's no reason not to. But at the same time, Kojima is not a slam dunk. I mean, his games sell about 5 or 6 million, including the Metal Gear titles. So they should always work with them as long as they'll have each other. But I don't think you can say that's going to counter Call of Duty. Maybe you're not, but I think that would be great. Spaz says, Jaffe, did you hear Nintendo Switch has surpassed the PS1? No. It's another reason I'm glad I'm not making games anymore because I don't understand the audience like I used to. I think the Switch is fine. I don't think it's the knees fucking bees. I really don't get the appeal of that fucking thing. I didn't when I first heard about it. I mean, yes, it's neat that you can put it on your TV and you can take it around, but I rarely touch my Switch, and I had it since day one. Okay. Kojima games sell little better than Souls games. I don't know if it's little better, Dark, but I agree. They're not, you got to be in a bubble to think Kojima is the equivalent of some of these big ticket items. Afro says Sony would turn Battlefield into a third-person narrative shooter as long as they bring back single player. Well, that's what I would be excited about. To have Sony go, we're going to make a war story, that has all the nuance and shit that we try to put in our other games, and we're also going to make sure DICE continues to make, when it's not buggy, and when it's not, hobbled by a horrible release schedule, one of the best multiplayer shooters for people who like those kind of games in the business. Eddie C., you old knucklehead, he says, look, man, it's crazy to me to see you as someone who don't like cutscenes or stories in games and only wants gameplay-oriented games, but you made God of War one of the best story and narrative games. All I can tell you, Eddie, and then we really will move on, I want to talk about Sony's service-based games that I'm starting to hear about. All I will tell you about that, Eddie, is that I love story. I had an argument about this with John Garvin of Days Gone fame the other night. I love stories. I love narrative. I love really cool IP in video games. But when I finished God of War, the game that you're talking about, I looked at it and I said, oh yeah, I don't want to continue down this road, because I think you can do that kind of storytelling better in linear medium. And in the meantime, let's let games tell their stories and their narratives and their sense of immersion through what makes this medium special. I don't think Sony's making SOCOM at all, Adam. I know they're making something with the director of Rainbow Six, and they've been working on it since 2018. Think about that. But I don't think it's SOCOM. I could be wrong, but okay. So here's some news, which leads into the games as a service thing. This was on Reddit, so I take this with a grain of salt, but there is a screenshot to go along with it that is kind of compelling. This guy on Reddit posts, I think it was today, 11 hours ago, a fellow named Mr. Weewoo 11, of course, of the Cincinnati 11s. He says, today a new patch was released for PS5 exclusive Destruction AllStars. It was version 3.0.1, patch notes available here. Along with the patch, the game servers went down for an hour of maintenance. Now, during the 1 hour maintenance period, if you updated the game, you saw this image right here. And what this is, if you can't tell, is he says, you can't really read it that well, but what you're seeing right here, oh, there you go. What you're seeing right here on the screen, where people's names or challenges go, it says BS underline free to play or FTP challenge play online matches, right? So what he's thinking is this game is about to go free to play. Okay. So I don't know if they fucking are or not, but I think certainly it wouldn't surprise me if that game didn't have a relatively easy switch that they knew somewhere along the lines. I think all multiplayer games probably have this switch now where the team builds it knowing we may have to transfer to free to play. So let's not make the guts of the system such that becomes an almost impossible request, right? So this wouldn't surprise me if they knew this was coming. It wouldn't surprise me if this were real. The comments, though, I think are pretty spot on. One guy says, if millions of PS Plus users on PS5 were not enough to sustain the game, and he's talking about because people had it free for a month, I doubt free-to-play will help in the long run. And I think he's absolutely right. And then this other guy says, yeah, but what about launching on PC? And I think it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you put it on every game system and make it free-to-play, unless you are able to solve the problem with that game, which is it's just not sticky enough. You might get you'll do exactly what a lot of these games do. You'll get a huge uptick, and if you're a moron, you'll be like, we did it, we saved our game, and then a month later it's back to where it was. Because it's, I thought it was a beautifully executed game, and I thought there was some neat design in it. But I don't think it was, I don't think that it was a long-term compelling contender for an actual games as a service. I'm starting to wonder now, maybe, are all of those Lucid people who migrated over to Firespark, which at first people thought was Twisted Metal, and now I'm starting to wonder if Twisted Metal is not even being made as a game and it's a new Motorstorm. But regardless, the people left behind, maybe they're sticking behind and they're doing, you don't need the director necessarily. I mean, you do, but he's like, fuck this, I'm getting out when I can. I'm going to go work on something new. But I think you don't need as big of a team to work on making this free to play. And if it's successful, you can hire more people to make more content. All these are guesses, though. I don't know. I'll let you know when I have something that that's like, this is definitive. I have a source on this or whatever. But this is just Reddit. It could all be horseshit. This screenshot, though, I don't know. It makes sense the game would go free to play. It makes sense that it would that these titles would reflect that. I think there's truth there. I played Destruction for a few hours, says Nomad. It was fine, but it just made me wish I was playing something more interesting like Twisted Metal. I mean, whether or not it's Twisted Metal or not, there have been a large number of people that I say, oh, put guns in the cars. But honestly, that'll gain you a couple more days. But if you don't really have a great sense of stickiness and depth to it, it doesn't even matter. It doesn't even matter. Listen now. This is a thread on NeoGAF, okay? This is going back to what people were talking about. Sony just announced a new IP multiplayer game. I don't know what that is, but I thought I was grateful to see this thread from a guy named Remember Spinal, because it's the first time I've seen all these put together. And it does remind me, in fact, his article or his post says it seems like maybe Sony's new lost Call of Duty, because since the past year they've been signing exclusive partnerships with studio heads known for multiplayer titles. I don't think they're going to come up with something that's going to beat Call of Duty, but you never fucking know. However, this guy puts this thread together. Let me show you what he's got listed of all of the that's a good point, Peapod. Destruction AllStars had a YouTube Red Originals vibe. I think it's true. Let me show you. He put together all the multiplayer titles currently that are known about. So there's Naughty Dog's multiplayer standalone from Last of Us 2, directed by Anthony Newman, don't know who that is, said to be a cinematic multiplayer experience. Haven Studios, which is Jade Raymond's new company, may have as its main highlight multiplayer. That is what I have heard as well. It's a live service game. Firewalks, the game will probably be the first out. It was fully playable as of last March. The game is being led by Ryan Ellis, ex-creative director for Destiny. I don't know what he's talking about here. I have no idea what this game is. So if it was first, he says it was fully playable last March. How does he know that? Deviation Games, they're looking for skilled senior game designer for single and multiplayer. That's a little sketchy what they're making. They were set up by Treyarch people, and they played a key role of success in Call of Duty Black Ops. So we'll see. Firesprite, which I thought was Firespark, but whatever the fuck they're called, that's the one we were just talking about. There's the theory they're working on Twisted Metal. I think they're working on Motorstorm, but one of the two, maybe. I don't fucking know, but that's the rumor. And then finally, Guerrilla Games, and then we know it says Insomniac has a game in production. Ilphonic is working on a Ghostbusters game. I don't know if that's exclusive to Sony, though. There's also Arrowhead, who's working on a AAA third-person version of Helldivers, which was on Steam and PlayStation. So there's at least 10 multiplayer games in production over at Sony, and they seem investing a lot of money, which I think is necessary. I mean, as much as you loved, hated, or didn't even play and have an opinion on Drawn to Death, Guns Up, and Killstrain was really Sony's attempt. I mean, Christian Phillips was down there going, look, free-to-play on console is going to be huge. Games as a service on console is going to be huge. This was before Fortnite. So no one really knew if he knew what he was talking. I mean, he knows what he's talking about, but no one really knew if he was reading the tea leaves properly. And then Fortnite comes out, and it's like, oh, shit. That's a fucking juggernaut on console. But you have to remember, before Fortnite, there was DC, and there was that... there was like a war game that launched with the PS4, which was like just sort of a generic war game, almost like Call of Duty, but it wasn't Call of Duty. And there's the PvE one with those weird space from the Dynamics, or not Crystal Dynamics, but whatever. There are those games, but it wasn't until on console that Fortnite came along and really said, this is not a niche thing. Yeah, Blacklight Retribution. That's right. Came along and said, these things are meant to be not just little niche things that we're trying. This is a big part of the industry. MAG wasn't free to play, Henry Studio, was it? You had to buy MAG, box and everything, if I remember. Okay, so there you go. We'll see what's happening. So I don't know if it turns out that anyone has the dirt on this new title I'm hearing about. Oh, Brian King, that's a fucking crackerjack idea. Insomniac Marvel multiplayer game. Yeah, I would much rather give that to Insomniac than the fucking Crystal Dynamics team, which doesn't need to be making Avengers anyway, and we all know that. They're a great team, but that's not for them. Stay away from that, fellas. But yeah, that would be amazing. That would be fucking fantastic. Mag launch paid, but it went free to play right before they shut down, says Zero. Oh, okay, great. I mean, it clearly didn't help, but okay, cool. But yeah, so even that though, it wasn't, nothing had happened in the industry to indicate that free to play on console was the way to go. I know this because I was sitting there at Sony having conversations about it and going, is this the right thing to do? Is free to play really going to work? We didn't launch free to play. Think about that. We didn't launch free to play because Killstrain failed. And we all got so scared that, oh shit, maybe this won't work, that we ended up giving it away for free for a month, and then we charged $20 for it. And at the time, we thought we were making the smartest decision in the world, but looking back now, is absolutely terrible fucking decision. Let me tell you about this. I got this yesterday on the comments. And I don't know, there's a guy who also sent me something, but this came into me yesterday. And I get this question probably once a month, and now I'm getting it a little more. I don't know why. Maybe it's because we were talking about the movie or something. Christopher Gorley, weren't Colin and Greg against going free to play with Drawn to Death? I don't know. I have no idea, man. I don't remember hearing that. Oh yeah, zoom in. I'm sorry, fellas. Okay. Adam says Spider-Man 2 and Wolverine are going to be insane. I would love it if they each have cameos in each other games. They used to do that, back when like Capcom had the rights, or I forget who made the X-Men game, but they'd throw in little fucking cameos and shit. Simpler times, children, simpler times. Oh my God, that's good. Kratos is Greek, not Black Samoan. Now he's talking about specifically The Rock, right? But I've seen this debate. The other guy, and I hope he'll call in now. He called in earlier and we weren't ready for him. This guy is Book of Eli. And he sent me this, and I'll be honest with you, I was not aware of the amount of black folks that had really contributed to this character. Of course, I knew Christopher Judge and I knew T.C. Carson. But he's absolutely right. When I said back in 2005, times are different now, Kratos is different now. But, excuse me, fellas, Jimon Hunsu, if I'm saying his name right, absolutely made sense to be Kratos for me. I thought he looked like him. I thought he had that rage that I saw in a couple movies he was in. There was a movie it was a very sweet, dramatic film, but it was a movie about, I think it was the guy who directed My Left Foot or something, and it was about him and his family coming from Ireland to America and how they were like really poor and all this stuff. And one of the kids befriended one of the guys in the building, the shitty building they lived in, which was played by Jimon Hunsu. And there were times in that movie where he just raged, not at the kid or anything, but he had issues. And I was just like, holy fuck, that guy is awesome. He is just fucking raw, passionate, anger. And I was like, that would make a great Kratos, because it was around that time, right? And then and I didn't even know this. You guys probably know this. Oh, Blood Diamond, I don't remember him being in that, but I remember that being a great movie. Former pro wrestler, he died recently, Shad Gaspard, was digitally scanned to be the new look and body of Kratos in God of War, the new one. He also did a large number of hand-to-hand combat and motion capture. I guess when it was the combat, that wasn't Chris Judge's ballywick, so maybe it went to this guy. That was news to me. Black dude here. Obviously, he's voiced by a black dude, right? So, he was in Gladiator 2, right? So it really, the reason I bring it up is because it is, and then I've got people online telling me, yeah, but Jaffe, this guy is Greek. And I'm like, they say, what did you design Kratos as? And I say, well, I just thought of him as ancient Greek, so I assume he's olive-skinned. And I assume that because I just watch movies. I didn't, someone's like, you should have done your research. I'm like, fuck you. Fuck you. I wasn't making a fucking documentary on the skin tone of people who lived in ancient Greece at the same time that the Greek myths were supposed to be happening in their world. So no, oops, you got me. I'm terrible. I was going, hey, I'm familiar in the movies with people who live on the Greek Isles being more olive skin. And so when we made Kratos before he had the ashes, he was kind of he's kind of in between a black and a white guy. It was kind of olive. And then people were like, that's not true. Greek people weren't olive skinned until the Turks invaded and started fucking everybody. And I'm just like, dude, I don't care. I'm not against the Greeks. I'm not against the Turk. I'm not against any, this is what I did. Okay. But what's interesting to me is that, yeah, you've got a guy who was designed to be Greek, which in my mind meant olive skin, which maybe that's historically incorrect, but whatever. I apologize. I mean, what do you want me to do? And then you've got a guy who basically looks as white as a sheet, like literally the word white. He's not pink. He's not like me. He's white. But so much of what makes this character work came to us from a bunch of black men. And so when somebody says, what is Kratos? I think the real answer has to be, the annoying arty-farty answer that would get me some headlines and allow me to say something that, if I still worked for Sony PR would approve, it would be Kratos is everybody. We all have... This is the bullshit they do, by the way. Let me tell you, if I was still working for Sony, what I would say and what people would believe. I would say, Kratos is everybody. I understand that not most of us, thank God, are not as angry and violent as Kratos, and we're not struggling with those specific demons, but we all struggle with demons. We all struggle with life being so challenging at times that we want to have an outlet for our rage. Thank God we have things like video games, and we don't live when Kratos lived, because we would be killing a lot of fucking things. But for me, I think Kratos represents everybody. And you can see that because we worked with mostly black men to create the actual model and voice. The lead combat designer and now lead designer is a black man who worked at Sony Santa Monica. He was based on Greek people who aren't white or black. And then he's also wandering around as white can be. Of course he's designed to be an everyman. But the truth of the matter is, I don't fucking know. You now know every single fucking thing I know about what Kratos is. I'm more fascinated. I'm more fascinated in. See what I did there? I almost laid into somebody in the chat, and I said, "Nah, it's not interesting for everybody else. I'll pull back." You guys, I'm getting so good. Listen, I'm more fascinated why people argue about it, why they care. Like, is it that if you're from the Greek nation, is there a sense of ownership that culture or that group has in this character and says, I don't want to hear about him being black. I don't want to hear about him being white. Is it that if you're from the black community, or even if you're not, but let's assume you are, and you say, that guy wouldn't exist without a bunch of fucking strong, powerful black men. And so we're taking ownership. If you're from the white community, he was built off Ed Norton in American History X, who was a white supremacist. I mean, it's fucking crazy, actually, when you think about how much of a mutt this character is, which I actually kind of love about him. Dennis, thank you, buddy. He says, Kratos is Greek. He is the son of Zeus and the Greek demigod covered in the ash of his family. He's Greek. In the narrative, he's absolutely Greek. There's no doubt. He is a dude from Sparta. Whatever that means, what you want to call him, he is a Spartan, and he was born in Sparta. Other than that, yeah, I mean that, but I think we're talking a little bit more, especially when we start getting into, oh Jesus, fuck you, Daniel Crawford. He says, Logan Paul as Kratos would sell tickets. It would sell me a ticket to find the nearest cliff to jump right off. Please don't ever get Logan Paul. I'm hoping Logan Paul ain't going to be walking after he finishes the fight with Tyson. I don't really hope that. That's a metaphor, but I do hope he gets his fucking ass kicked. Okay, so Zan Moff says, why does it matter? It's a fucking game. Well, here's the only reason I think maybe it's coming up more and more and more. And John Flattery, he's not literally a god. Well, I guess he is. He's the god of war, but he's a demigod. Rob says, Kratos is from my streets. That's right. But listen though, I think it comes up because we're talking about the movie, right? And for someone to say, like, I mean, seriously, we've seen, and I think for the most part, not entirely, but for the most part, it's been a good thing. We have seen Scarlett Johansson's caught the brunt of it twice. She was the Japanese android in Ghost in the Shell live action, and a lot of people said you're whitewashing the role. She was about to play a trans man, and the trans community rose up and said that's really offensive. She stepped out of that role. But you're seeing that more and more. It's like, why? You know, you saw it with the Indian voiceover actor who took over for, I think, was it Harry Shearer, I think, who did the guy who works in the convenience shop. You're seeing more people saying, look, if you're going to have people play our culture, you should fucking hire us. That's fair. That's very fair. So I just wonder with Kratos, do you hire a black guy? Do you hire a Greek guy? Because, you know, you are right. The story is he's a Greek guy. But I can't think of any Greek actors that are big stars that could get butts in seats, as the kids like to say. So I'm interested in this, but I hope it doesn't become a thing, because you know what? If it became a thing, then there's your answer. Why does it matter? Because I think you would have to figure out what that is. Oh, Emmanuel Davila says, this isn't a thing. You are just deflecting from the obvious misogynistic making of the game. Fuck you, motherfucker. You know good and well you're fucking with me. I get so mad, and you know I do. That's why you're fucking with me. I get so fucking mad when people do that. There's nothing misogynistic about God of War. Hire a no-name Greek actor. I think, sure, if you're going to spend $25 million and make a low-budget fucking raw movie, great. If you're going to make a $280 million epic or TV series that's got 12 episodes a season, I don't think you're going to find anybody who's going to want to foot the bill for that. Peapod says, this feels like how people felt about you making Mr. Grimm black in Twisted Metal 2012. Joking aside, I'm not saying you're joking, but, we were talking earlier in the stream about, why maybe I don't connect with Bloodborne, and maybe I have, ADD people tend to have a harder time transitioning from one topic to another. Like in school, my daughter struggled a lot going from math to history. It wasn't that she was bad at math, and it wasn't that she was bad at history. It was that shifting her mind from one to the other, right? Well, in this case, things like that don't bother me at all, right? I don't care if Grimm is white and then he's black. In the first game, he was literally a demon that was that needed souls and was driving around collecting souls in his little fucking can that was literally a Folgers coffee can that the prop guy made the night before. And you can see it when the lid opens and it goes bloop, bloop, bloop. It's so bad. But anyway, I was like, yeah, every game's its own thing. Every game's job is to entertain the audience. And I never cared about that consistency. But you're absolutely right. A lot of people did. Vitaphone says, so it's not appropriation as long as it's not AA. It's totally acceptable to race swap as long as it's not a group perceived as marginalized. It shows the flaw. Wait, okay, I'm not, let me read that again carefully. It's not appropriation as long as it's not AA. I don't understand. Are you talking about the budget? What I'm saying is, if you wanted to hire a Greek guy, I'm not saying that's the ideal solve. I'm not suggesting you do it or not do it. I'm saying that person that I was responding to said, hire a no-name Greek actor. Well, you have a problem with that, because there is no way the money that needs to get spent on these things gets spent, whether you're Greek or American or Greek or Irish or wherever you live. And I don't mean where your nationality, but where you hail from. If you're a no-name, you're not going to get the deal unless they're spending small amounts of money. That's what I'm not saying that appropriation's fine if you don't spend a lot of money. I'm just saying you're not going to get the money if you're a no-name actor. It's totally acceptable to race swap as long as it's not a group perceived as marginalized. I mean, yeah, it's a different conversation. I mean, I don't want to get into it now, but let me respond to your question or your comment. I absolutely feel that it's not a good look right now, I don't mean because of where we are right now in the culture, but in terms of there has been such a power differential between black people and white people in this country since the beginning, that the idea of white people going, well, why can you race swap me, but you can't race swap a black guy or an Asian guy or an Indian guy? I think that's a little bitchy, frankly. It's like, you know what? We've had a lot of shit. We can handle not getting, having some characters race. I mean, it's whiny fucking bullshit is what I think. I think, you know what? It's time to step back and give a little to the people that have helped build this country in massive ways and basically have not only been not thanked for it, but have been punished for it hundreds of years after the fact. So I'm progressive. That's what you get. You bring that shit up, that's what you're going to get. Let me get some of these super chats. You guys know I appreciate them. All right. SSH77. Thank you, buddy. He says, Dave Bautista is Greek-blooded. He could play the role. What does Greek-blooded mean? Is Greek-blooded different than being Greek? But sure. I mean, that I don't like him as much as I don't like Bautista that much. He just seems like a real angry guy, which I know is Kratos, but there's not much there. But he also blocked me on Twitter, and that may be why I don't like him. I'm not above that, and I don't know why. I've never had an interaction with the guy. Not sure if he would be interested in playing a video game character. Yes, of course, because he's trying to keep Scorsese from knocking down his door to play a deep nuance character. There you go. You got another one, though. You got another one on your team there. Dennis Lamov says, thank you, buddy. He says, Dave Bautista is easily one of the best actors to play Kratos. Everybody seems to be under the impression that Bautista is a better, like a really good actor. And that may be the case, but where are you seeing this? I mean, I do think he has more range than The Rock. I think John Cena has more range than The Rock. Maybe there's a reason he's called The Rock, because that's his range. I mean, I like The Rock, but I agree Bautista's a better actor, but it's, so what? I mean, is Bautista a big enough name to really open a movie? He was in a comedy recently, a buddy comedy that kind of came and went. Mo Chocolate says, on TikTok, people have been debating whether Kratos is black or not, so thanks for clearing it up. Absolutely. And again, man, I don't have it cleared anything up. I mean, I all you now know is what I know. And I do believe, in the case of Kratos, if God of War had been this very serious look at life on the Greek islands in the year, I don't know what it was, 5000 BC or whatever, sure. Okay. You want to be respectful of the source material. It's a pulpy dime novel with a guy who's got a bunch of black people, white people, Greek people coming together and making this cool character. I don't give a fuck who plays him as long as it has the essence of the character. Kratos, yeah, we talked about Kratos being Greek. Hang on, I just want to make sure. Dennis Lamov says, back to Sony, he says, Sony simply can't compete with Microsoft. Phil Spencer making future of Xbox today by purchases of studios and publishers. Jim killing PlayStation through making ports of PC, making same games on PlayStation. I don't agree with necessarily what you're saying about Jim Ryan. I think the games on PlayStation are very exciting, and in a certain genre, they are second to none. I think going to PlayStation with PC ports makes a lot of sense. I think they wait too long. I'd like to see them get to about 6 or 7 months, but whatever. But I 100% agree with you that they can no longer compete with Microsoft, not because their software is not good. Their software is better than Microsoft software, but because it's the, what it would be? To me, it's the equivalent of two great college baseball teams that have been slugging it out, and people just love the rivalry and all this shit. And then suddenly one of the college baseball teams somehow gets magically transferred, and now they're playing in MLB, right? And the other team's left on the field going, what happened? The minute they merge with Activision, they're in a different, not creative league, not execution league, but they're doing a different kind of business at that point to a large extent. And I don't think Sony can compete unless they bring in a studio to help with that. Okay. Let us move forward. Let me get the chat too. Hang on a second. I apologize. I think Nintendo will die before they ever bring their games to PC, says Zaf. That's probably true. Danny DeVito is Kratos. Well, yeah. I wonder if Jaffe knows about the study they did where they found white liberals actually do in fact talk down to black people. There is absolutely no doubt of that, but you're getting progressive and liberal mixed up. Are there limousine liberals? Are there white people that are, actually racist that are liberal and think they are woke? 100%. 100% to be, the woman in the park that yelled at the Marvel Comics editor who was a black man who had his dog off the leash. And then her excuse is like, well, I voted for Obama. Like that suddenly excuses the fact that she's still very much clearly a racist person. No, there's absolutely no doubt. But there is a difference between progressive and conservative. CR3D says the same study found white conservatives do not talk down to black people. Well, yeah, because they're too busy trying to figure out how to tie the noose. I mean, come on. You don't really doing a lot of talking. That's like hard not to tie, man. I'm not saying I do that. I'm fucking progressive. I'm saying a lot of them do it. No. Did you see the women in the elevator trying to kick the black guy while shouting Black Lives Matter? Like, ironically? I don't understand. Truth Teller says, Jaffe, we should do some politically woke podcasts. I do them from time to time. You goddamn right, Blake. Most progressive man in the world right here. You goddamn right. You goddamn right. Okay, let's move forward. Fuck you. Look, not only could I not play Kratos, I wouldn't want to play Kratos, right? I just have no interest. Kratos, I already played when I worked with the team to create him. That was me playing Kratos, right? That's why I did it. Not consciously, but it's like, I wish I could be that in some ways. Not, of course, in a lot of ways. Kevin Hart is Atreus. Let me just tell you something. Kevin Hart and The Rock in the new Jumanji, which I know isn't new, but I just saw it, but it's the second one. When the fact that they decided to make The Rock Danny DeVito, and more importantly, Kevin Hart Danny Glover, was just fucking awesome. Just fucking awesome. Yeah, leftists and liberals are not the same thing, Ray. Yes, I absolutely agree. Okay. King of the North says, wait, Kevin Hart is gay? No, but he's an actor, so he can play gay. Although maybe not. Maybe that also becomes a problem. I'm not that... look, I don't really care. I'm as progressive as I can be, but obviously your mileage may vary. I mean, I'm certainly still a fan of regulated capitalism in the free market, not absolutely unregulated like it is now. It's not like that, but it feels like that, and it is in some ways. So no, I'm not saying let's just take over and give all workers control of everything and be socialist and all that, because I do see a lot of value that comes from the capitalist system. But why are we talking? Why are we talking about this? I don't want to get off the rails. People don't come here for that, but I can more than happy to talk politics with you in a separate stream. You know I love politics. Dennis, thank you, buddy. He says Microsoft got genre diversity. FPS, RTS, RPG, Sims, the list goes on because of those studios they have, but Sony makes only one kind of game right now, basically the third person. I mean, that's not true, but it feels true, and it feels true enough that it's not true, but your point is well taken, right? I mean, Sony has baseball, which was the number 10 best-selling game across everything last year. Sony has, they're Ratchet and Clank is not it's kind of similar, but I'm absolutely with you, though, that they need to diversify. Let's just agree on that. And I just showed that list of all the service-based games they're trying to make, so they are trying. But you're absolutely right. If you like to play across the spectrum of genres, and other than hardcore sports sims, I do. Right now. You can't doubt that Microsoft has a leg up. But again, I mean, if we were just talking, if they hadn't bought Activision and we were like 2 weeks ago, then I would even feel better about Sony going, you know what, guys, go out and get Square if you can. Go out and get Capcom if you can, because you do have a hole in RPGs. Now, some people would argue, but Horizon's an RPG. Yeah, it is, but you know what I'm talking about. I mean, traditional, although updated for today, but kind of a traditional feeling RPG like Final Fantasy or Dragon Quest. You know, you don't really have horror all that covered, which is a very lucrative subgenre. Capcom does. You don't have a great multiplayer co-op game. I don't think Capcom does with Monster Hunter. So, I mean, I'm with you. The perception is they only make one kind of game brilliantly. That's not true, but it's true enough, if that makes any sense. Legend says, Jaffe, check out Amir Khan, an Indian actor for Kratos. Let's check him out together. Let's do it together, as pals do. Amir Khan. Amir Khan. He seems tiny. Was he in anything? I mean, no. I think he's too tiny. He looks little. I mean, people can bulk up. How tall is he? How tall is this him here? Okay, let's see how tall this guy is. Could this guy be Kratos? Yeah, I don't care if he's an Indian guy at all. That's what I'm saying. But some people might. How can you have a Greek guy play? You know, he's 5'9". He's not a very big dude. I mean, I'm not either, but I'm not trying to play Kratos. So, okay. But thank you for that. Thank you for bringing that to my attention. I appreciate it. Okay, hang on a second. He's a boxer, a small boxer with a squeaky voice, says Jason WB. Yeah, that seems like that's not going to work. Quinn O'Connor says, were there no black people in Sparta during the era? Don't know. Serious question. It's a good question. I have no clue. I wonder if that guy wanted to call in, except Colby the Dragon. Colby the Dragon, if you're still there, we're here for you, pal. I don't know. Second question, CRT that people are railing is not real. It's not taught in schools. It's fabricated right-wing boogeyman. I know. I think it's a talking point like anything else that one side or the other uses to ram their agendas down people's fucking throat. Political agendas. I agree. I think there's a lot of good stuff in critical race theory, and it's not what people are talking about, and that's unfortunate. But again, that's a different chat. Everyone assuming all the upcoming Xbox games are going to be great. They haven't earned that trust. Yeah, I don't know if I don't think I'm assuming they're all going to be great. I didn't love Psychonauts 2. I appreciated it, but it wasn't my kind of game. But yeah, I mean, they still have to deliver. But so far, if you look at their games that are under their purview, this year or last year, it was Microsoft Flight Sim is like a 10 out of 10 game according to IGN and a bunch of reviewers. Psychonauts is a 8.9, 9.2 game according to Metacritic. Forza is like a 9, 10. And then to a lot of people, including me and critics, Halo is a 9 or a 10. So it's not like they're not. And then Wasteland 3 was probably like an 8.5. I loved Wasteland 3. So I know what you're saying. They have a lot. If you're talking about competing with Sony first party, they aren't there yet. And I think they know they're not there yet. I think they've actually on the record said we need to be able to make games like specifically citing The Last of Us. They know that. But, you know, it doesn't mean what they're doing isn't interesting and exciting. Starfield on Xbox, says Brian, will not be moddable without losing achievements. Is it going to be moddable anyway? JHF says all Microsoft games the past year were above 80. Fuck you, Peapod. You know, people who don't finish games, you know, my score should always be 5-6 points less, because if it's a game I didn't finish, that's the problem with the game. Diego, I'm not anti-Psychonauts, and I haven't finished it. I will tell you, I played it coming off of Ratchet, and Ratchet controls so brilliantly. And it is so sublime, a 3D platformer. The one thing that Psychonauts kind of doesn't do that well is the execution and game form. The writing is amazing. The ideas, the creativity, all of it's fantastic. But controlling, what's the guy's name? The Raz? Controlling him, he doesn't control that great. The combat's kind of clunky. The platforming's kind of clunky. So, you know, I don't know if you're right, but certainly if you're talking about the intellectual property, it was absolutely wonderfully executed. But Brian, you're not wrong either. What's the next good Xbox game? We don't know yet. But to be fair, that's absolutely something Xbox has to contend with this year. They don't have to, but they should, which is they had a banger of a year, and now no one knows what's on deck except, I mean, nothing from their first-party studios, as far as I know. So, yeah, you're absolutely right. They need to get out in front of that and talk about what's coming this year. Okay. I don't understand this narrative of Sony making movie games, says Adam. What's confusing about it? What do you mean? Danny DeVito is Ratchet. That's pretty good. I did finish the new Ratchet & Clank. I sure as fuck did. I could not. It was that good. So, the narrative, though, is that most of the games that Sony makes that gets a lot of the attention are games that are like third-person, cinematic, lots of cutscenes, very, whether you want to call it melodramatic, dramatic, overly angsty, it depends on your time of day and cup of tea. There's a real similar thread there. If you look at Days Gone, Ghost of Tsushima, God of War, The Last of Us, Uncharted, you know, to an extent, Ratchet & Clank can kind of halfway go in there. And then what else do you really talk about? I mean, Returnal fits in there. It's a very different game, moment to moment, but it's still very much I'm this character, I'm going through this adventure, it's very story heavy. Yeah, GT's different, MLB's different. But other than that, you know, I think it's a pretty fair, not even a criticism, but a fair descriptor to throw at Sony, that they are basically movie games. And there's nothing wrong with that. In fact, Jim Ryan even said, maybe a year and a half ago, he was talking about the future of the company and stuff. And we're going to continue doing these big games. We're storytellers. We're all about, you know, characters and stories. And, you know, that's what he was flying that fucking flag. I mean, they're partially responsible, not just because of what they make, but also because of, you know, their actual PR. Right. I mean, there is supposed to be Starfield this year. Maybe it'll come. I don't know. I mean, it's yeah, I agree, Adam. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm not criticizing them. I love their games. I love Ghost of Tsushima. I love Days Gone. I love Last of Us 2. And I loved God of War 2018. Absolutely. But it is, you know, it's not really diverse. And if all you like or most of what you like are those games. Yeah, Sackboy, you got a point. Sackboy was great, by the way, on Sony, and it was very different than those other games. There is no maybe for Starfield, says Pixelbit G. It's done and coming this year. It's not done. Come on now. You don't know what you're talking about. It might be coming this year. I hope it comes this year. I'm very excited to give it a shot. But all that Bethesda has said, Todd Howard, I think, was the one who said it. He says, it's the first time we've got it fully playable end to end. That doesn't mean it's done. Oh, yeah, and then Horizon is another one, right? Yeah, that doesn't mean that it's a complete product ready to ship, but I hope so. I absolutely fucking hope so. That would be fantastic. I'm looking forward to it. You say spring 2023. Yeah, I mean, if it slipped, it wouldn't surprise me, but I hope it doesn't. I would like to see Starfield 2, says Brian, but let's be honest, there's no gameplay reveal. We're on the same year. That's a huge red flag. But, you know, it's a huge red flag if they are promoting and marketing it like games of the past. If they're... all things being equal and nothing having changed to redefine how you market a game in Microsoft's age of Game Pass, I would agree with you. It's a little weird. I agree. The problem is Ratchet & Clank is on an on-rails platform and Jaffe can't figure out Psychonauts. You are aware, though, Crip, that that's not accurate, right? That Ratchet & Clank is not on rails? Like, it's not Crash Bandicoot. And I finished Crash Bandicoot 4 last year. I finished about, Rob says, my friend's brother says it's this year. Well, there you go. I finished like 6 games this year, but I don't take pride in that. That's the game's being good. That's not, it shouldn't be an achievement to finish a game. Did you ever hear somebody go, oh, dude, I finished watching, Black Widow last night, or I finished watching The Witcher season 1 last night. Oh my God, you're badass. You're hardcore. KR has become a member. Thank you, pal. We're gonna spin the wheel in just a couple of seconds. I appreciate that, buddy. Thank you very goddamn much. Okay. Spazbo, not in 2022. Last year is what I mean. Fucker. Look at this. Speaking of Sony, look at that. What do you think? I don't like it. I got to be in my bonnet about this movie. So, don't mind me. I just don't like this movie. I don't like what it's about, but it could end up being a goddamn great it could end up being a goddamn great action adventure, and I fucking hope so. And if you don't know, if you're not listening, or if you're listening and not watching, I'm showing you guys the final poster for Uncharted, which comes out in February. Comes out in less than a month. It's basically Tom Holland hanging off the cargo crates from the plane from Uncharted 3. It just really, nothing I have seen so far. Let's put it this way, though. If this movie turns out to be good and satisfying and fun, which I hope it does, nothing I have seen so far of this motion picture in their press indicates such. And in that, then maybe the issue is marketing. Like, if we walk out of this movie and go, fuck, that was fun. That's the new Baby Driver of video game movies. That was nonstop, creative action, had a lot of personality. The actors were great. Then I would be pissed at marketing. Because the movie makes it, the marketing just kind of makes it look like, eh. Yeah, Tomb Raider expectations, Nicholas says. Absolutely. Tom Holland says Jason has a 21-year-old face. Nathan Drake is like 40. Yeah, and even their explanation, like when they say things like, oh, well, we hired him young because we want to travel with him as he ages. All that's fine. But he doesn't even feel like a young Nathan Drake. He's not that. Hello, Adversary 1. Good to see you, buddy. I feel bad for Holland as an actor. He's in a no-win situation given how well-established Drake is. Zaf, I don't agree with that. Right now, he is. But all it takes is seeing him perform it. And again, the number of people who played Uncharted and care about Uncharted enough to have a criticism about Uncharted when it comes to how he is like Nathan, that's minor compared to the number of people that they need to get into the movie theater to make this movie a hit. So it doesn't matter if he doesn't fulfill our hardcore gamer vision of Nathan Drake, but it matters because everything else they've shown about this movie doesn't do anything to support Nathan. It doesn't do anything to make you go, oh, okay, I don't care if it's my Nathan Drake. This is exciting. It's not like mainstream people are talking about this movie either. I don't know if, I forget what it's called, where they do these sort of like Google searches or social media posts. My guess would be less than a month out. If people were into this, they would be tweeting and talking about it a lot more. I don't see any heat on this motion picture show. Adam, yes, I am a Jim Carrey fan. Okay. So here's the deal, fellas. Let me tell you what we're going to do now. There's some... Oh, shit. Hang on. I should lock that. There's some interesting shit to talk about, but I think what we're going to do instead... I'll move all that content to tomorrow because it's 7:45. So here's what we're going to do. I'm not missing it, Dennis. Whenever I miss super chats, there was a super chat I missed yesterday, by the way, from someone, and I will start tomorrow's stream with it. But no, I have not missed super chats today. I just haven't gotten around to them yet. So, for example, I know Dennis Lamov, you have just become a member, which I appreciate. We're going to let you spin the wheel. He says Microsoft has lots of RPGs because Bethesda, Obsidian, in exile, but Sony doesn't have any. Instead of spending money on TV shows and movies, they should invest in more games and different genres. Fair, but it's not one-to-one, though. It's not like, Sony Pictures footed the bill for Uncharted. Twisted Metal, I think they're shopping it around, trying to find a green light of a company that will actually foot the bill. So, but I hear you, though. I think, you can't look, Dennis, at Bethesda, Obsidian, In Exile, and there's actually a couple more, and go, they're not solid for RPGs. Absolutely true. Chris Kattan can play Clank. Who the fuck? I mean, I know who that is, but how many people have that fucking reference? But I think that's pretty funny. KR has become a member. Thank you, buddy. So here's what we're going to do right now. Okay. There's no more video game news. I'll take questions if you want to talk, but we're going to take care. And I really, okay. Lose my fucking mind. Let me tell you one more quick video game thing I want you to know about, and then we're gonna do some wheel spins, which you, whether you're a member or not, have the chance to win the God of War Fallen Gods paperback, trade paperback, which will be shipping out to you if you win it a week from today. Okay, we're gonna get to that in just 1 second. I just want to let you know two quick things. You ever heard of this company here? This is a company called Atooi. Now, Atooi has made some classic fucking retro games. They're still making games. Totes the Goat I enjoyed, Zeo Drifter, Mutant Muds. They also were part of a company, I believe I'm getting it right, but I know Jules, who runs this company, also ran or co-ran Renegade Kid. And if you didn't play, was it Dementia or Dementium or something? It was like a horror game on the 3DS. That was fucking cool. So, point is, I want to bring this up to you to let you know that they today, literally today, just dropped their first episode of their podcast, Atooi Talks. It's brand new, just hit today. I'm going to put a link in the chat. If you like to hear developers talking about the craft, especially ones that are very Nintendo-centric, I don't think they've only published on Nintendo, but I think mostly they are a Nintendo group of developers. I recommend, following Jules and kind of seeing if this might be your cup of tea. There's the link in the chat right there. Okay, so here's what we're doing the rest of the show. I am going to read you guys 2 pages of the stream thriller, as I like to call it. I may do another fucking a bonus Gabbing Games in the morning. There's so much news we didn't get to that I want to talk about, but I want to talk to you right now about this that you see on your screen. This is Fuck It Before It Fucks You. It's called Dirty Jackrabbit Radio Dark. Track number 1, Go Ask LSD. This is a screenplay one of our God of War members has written. It is all about, well, I don't know what it's about yet. I'm reading it with you guys, but so far we know it's a bunch of guys who are wandering through the jungle in Vietnam. They're talking about all kinds of conspiracy theories. And when we last left our boys, our troop, our squad, the Viet Cong came out of nowhere and blew them all to fucking bloody hell. Now, the reason I'm bringing this up to you is today I'm putting 2 more people on the wheel. We have 1 person on the wheel right now, and come tomorrow, or come to the end of the stream, we'll have 3. Come Friday, we'll have 5, and when that wheel gets spun, at that point you will know if you are the winner of the God of War Fallen Gods trade paperback. Okay, so I'm going to read you 2 pages of this thriller sci-fi thing, horror. And then I'm going to ask you 2 trivia questions based on what I just read to you. And after that, you may go on the wheel. And then we're going to give members who signed up today their spin as well. So here we go. This is Dirty Jackrabbit Radio Dark, written by our very own I'm forgetting his fucking name because he's got 2 names. He's got a weird fucking name in the Discord, which is like Soap or something. But in real life, you'll see his name flying up above your head there. His real life name is I don't fucking know where it went, but he's a different guy. But I'll point him out to you when I see him next. It takes me a while to learn names. Here we go. So remember, Cooper, with all things considered, Vegas, how can we tell who the real monsters are? Vegas says, shit, man, call it intuition. Click. This is where we left off yesterday. Now pay attention, because there's going to be a quiz that could get you a cool prize. There's only time for Vegas's eyes to grow wide before the landmine he just triggered tears his limbs apart. That motherfucker's dead. Kaboom! Bloody viscera, bone splinters, and shrapnel fire. They all find their path in a concussive blast. Instantaneously, 5 North Vietnamese soldiers spring from the undergrowth. Brap, brap, that's machine guns, baby. Atomic gunfire lights up the trail, chewing through Sergeant Tyson and Sile Riley immediately. They're the first to go down. Hard, guns firing wildly into the dirt, meeting earth face to face. Cooper screams, contact, tree line, close, brap, more gunfire. Cooper spins, a terrible jerk, his return fire cutting the jungle to pieces before finding its target. We watch Big Mac unpin a grenade, hurl it towards more burst of oncoming fire. Bullets chew through his face, but the grenade does land. That Big Mac, I always told you, he was a hell of a grenade thrower. The North Vietnamese army scatter fruitlessly. 3 souls caught within the boom. Cooper hits the grass. We're back to where we began. Frenzied camera, remember this open with the flashback. Frenzied camera work, the last blast of gunfire, ear-crackingly close. Cooper struggles in the glass, gasping for breath, desperate, trying to stem the tide of warm red. Both sides have been reduced to shaking heaps, every last one, and it couldn't have been more than 15 seconds. The wilted screams of his squad mates die to choking gargles as Cooper loses consciousness. And we fade out to black. Okay. Here we go. Let me take this off the screen so you can't cheat. I'm going to ask 2 trivia questions. I'm going to ask one at a time. The first person to answer correctly on my screen, on the stream here, is going to go on the wheel. And then I'll ask a second. And they're going to go on the wheel. Okay. There you go. Okay. First question is, name one of the soldiers that the story says are the first to drop, the first to go down. They're the first to go down, hard, guns firing wildly into the dirt, meeting earth face to face. 4 lights, I like that. Okay, hang on, I think we have an answer. It is Churros, that's right, Riley. It was Sergeant Tyson and Sil Riley immediately. They're the first 2 to go down. Okay, so we're going to put Riley on the wheel. Not Riley, we're going to put Churros on the wheel. Let me show you what that looks like. Okay, let me take this off real quick. Okay, so we are going to put you on the wheel right now. All right, you are now, as you can see, competing. I forget if it's RJ or JR, but I have it screen grabbed. Right now it's between you 2. Let's get a third up on the wheel, and then we will move on to member rewards of the day. Here we go. The next question. How many North Vietnamese soldiers spring from the undergrowth and attack our boys? How many were there before they all got killed? How many popped up? Oh my God, Pixel Catman immediately, 5. Good job, Pixel Catman. First one I saw, followed quickly by Chris Wilkerson, but Pixel got there before you. You're going up first, baby. You're going on the board as well. Okay, so there we go for that. That was impressive. I wouldn't have remembered that. Pixel. Oops. Okay. Okay, as the final thing we like to do here on the show, there's the wheel right now, okay? But we're going to spin tonight. All the prizes went out today already. This is the wheel that you're looking at. Let me make it bigger. This is for members, okay? And if you join, you get to spin the wheel, you get a prize. You never know what it's going to be. Some are good, some are shitty, whatever. They're all good. They're all charming. Doesn't matter. The point is this. 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 You had 15 seconds typed out hoping I'd ask how long it took. There you go. That's clever. Okay. Let me see who joined up today. Well, and if you have to be here also, that's the trick, right? So Dennis Lamov is a member. Let me know if you're here. KR is a member. Carl B. Mann is a member. Nomad is a member. So we have Nomad today. Welcome. We have Carl. Welcome. We have KR and Dennis. Are you guys here? You answered the right answer first on the question. I can take a picture and show you that you didn't, at least on my screen. So I assure you, you didn't on my screen. I can't worry about what's on your screen. But for me, just so you guys all know, I don't cheat. This, where can I put this? Oh, I'll just show you my fucking screen. Hang on. Let's see. Okay, display. Right, so, whoops. That's my chat right there. God damn it. Okay, so you are here. That's you. Then Pixel, then Wolf, Pixel, Jacob, Chris, Pixel Catman got it here. So according to my computer, that's not the case, but whatever. It is what it is. Good luck next time. I can't control that. There's nothing I can do about it. All right, so we've got Carl B. Mann is here. Let me clear this off the screen. Dennis is here. KR is here. Carl is here. Who are we missing? Dennis, KR, Carl, and there's one other one. Sorry, fellas. I'm doing this without a net. 1 second. Carl. Oh, and Nomad. Nomad. Okay, do we have Nomad here? All right, well, Nomad, if you're here, we'll do it. But for now, we're going to jump in. Let's start at the end. We'll start with Carl. Carl, you've become a member. Thank you very much. Appreciate it, buddy. I know you've been a member before. Welcome back. This spin of the wheel is for you. Here we go. You've won the ability to smell one of my comics, sir. That's probably the best gift you can ever get. These comics back here date back to about 1970, 1960. You are going to smell a beautiful Doctor Strange first. This is the original Doctor Strange from 1976, right? Now this, my friend, I mean, you know, you can think it's not a good prize, but oh my God, man. Delightful. Here you go. Sniff some Doctor Strange, baby. There you go. Look at it. Let me get you an actual sniff of the Doctor. Get in there. Get up in all them guts and smell that motherfucker. Oh my God, it smells so good. You are smelling the comic. All right, there you go, buddy. That is your prize. Thank you, buddy. Spaz says it smells terrible. It smells terrible. Fuck you. Spaz, go to hell. It's so good. Sniff some of that Strange, says Adversary. That's right. I agree, Nicholas. I love the smell of old pages. 100%. 100%. All right, that goes out to our good friend Carl. This next one is for... Oh, we actually... Sorry, we're starting at the back. I guess we'll start at the front. So, Carl, that was for you. You're like, fuck that shit, Jaffe. That's what I get. Well, it's different. We're going to wait for Nomad because I don't think Nomad's here. So he missed his chance. Now we've got KR. KR, this spin of the wheel is for you, my friend. Let's go. you get a Gabbin' Games t-shirt with the Gabbin' Games logo. Long sleeve, short sleeve, totally up to you. Hit me up in the DM or on the Twitter and let me know what your size is and if you want a long sleeve or a short sleeve, and I will send that your way in the mail. What I'll probably do is I will send it directly from there, which is, I think it's Teespring or Streamlabs, and I'll just get your address and I'll get that to you. So that is going to be coming to you ASAP, but I need your address and I need some information like shirt size, your real name, all that shit. So, and if you don't want it, that's cool. Let me know and you can give it to somebody else in the chat that does, and then they just have to contact me. But I'm going to wait for you to hit me up first. Who was that spin for? Don't lie to me because I can go back and check, but I'm just honor system. Was that from Dennis or KR? Which one was that for? Yeah, if you'd rather, I mean, you gotta, no, you can't smell my comics unless you get the wheel, baby. You gotta get the wheel. That was for KR. All right, KR, hit me up in the chat, or sorry, on DM, either on Discord or Twitter. Okay. Last spin of the night for Dennis Lamov has become a member. Dennis, this goes out for you. Let's see what you get. You get the God of War design document, sir. Now, let us be clear on this, though. The God of War design document is currently lost. I owe one to CR3D right now. I talked at the beginning of the stream. I was trying to send it out to him today, but I can't find it. So what I may end up doing, I'll send you something of an equivalent interest, whether it's from Twisted Metal, whether it's an original page of design like the one that we sent earlier today. I opened the stream showing it. This went out to, was it G Million earlier today, and you would basically get, hang on, let me make it small. This is actual original content from God of War that he got today, right? So, but I'm hoping I can find it. I just don't know where the fuck it is. But anyway, okay, so Dennis, you're getting that, and the t-shirt's going to KR, and we got 2 people more on the wheel to win the comic coming up. On Friday, we'll know who the winner is. Okay. Fellas, that has been the Gabbin' and the goddamn games tonight. Did you like what I did? I added the at the end. That's what makes it art. That really is Gabbin' and Games for tonight, fellas. Me and the family are going to go watch some Dickinson. And then after that, I don't know, maybe I'll stream. I might do 2 streams tomorrow because there's so much more news I want to get to. If I can get to bed early enough, I might wake up and do like an hour and a half Gabbin' and Games in the morning because I don't want that to be the afternoon show. But there was about 8 good stories we haven't even talked about yet that I want to do. But yeah, in the meantime, I didn't lose it, Amon. I didn't lose it. I just can't find it yet. It'll turn up. Yes, contact me, Dennis, either on Twitter, which is at David Scott Jaffe, or more importantly, you should join the Discord anyway as a member. And that link is down below in the link tree, and send me a DM. But either way, that's how we can hook up, and I will get all your information to anyone. Basically, it's KR and Dennis tonight. I need that information from so I can get your stuff. That is misappropriating us black folk. What is? What's misappropriating? Jaffe looks like the guy from Hook who lost his marble. Bob Hoskins? Is that the guy? Ooh, comic smell jars. That's a great idea. Because nobody would buy them. But I don't know how to do them. Do I think Sony will buy a Miko and television from Tommy? So they can rival Microsoft's Activision deal. Yeah. Yeah, it's very kind of you, Quinn. Thank you, buddy. I appreciate it. Oh, Jarvie, you've been following Atooi. Yeah, go on over there and give them a follow on their website. They're good lads, as the kids say. But yeah, Do you think Xbox will release the old Spider-Man Activision games? I don't think so, because, I mean, I don't know. I have no knowledge of the deal, but my guess would be that that release was like a licensed window. So in the same way that Sony wasn't able in America to release the updated Mickey Mania because wording in the contract said for whatever reason they could do it in England, but they couldn't do it here. There's all kinds of things like that. I don't know what the deal is. So CR says, Jaffe, CR, did you see my note, though, about the design document? So right now you and Dennis are owed a design document. If I can't find it, I'm going to give you something of equal value, at least in my opinion. But I just wanted to let you know it was going to go out to you today, but I couldn't find it. It's around here somewhere. I don't talk about Nintendo ever. Look, man, I love Nintendo. I've always been a Nintendo fan. Okay, you would prefer something Twisted Metal anyway, CR. Okay, I'll see what I can find. I unfortunately don't have those design documents anymore, but I'm sure I've got some stuff. But I love Nintendo, but Nintendo hasn't put out I'm very excited for Kirby, so I might start talking about him. I'm very excited. I never finished Yoshi's Crafted World, so I want to get that and finish it. But Jacob, there's nothing to stream that I'm interested in. Like lately I might stream Pokemon because I've never really played a full Pokemon game. But other than that, like, I don't care about Splatoon. I don't care about... I did stream Metroid, but I didn't like it. There's a great drawn design document I could give you. Yeah, Legends, it's true. And I'll stream Kirby. But it's got nothing to do with me not liking Nintendo. It has to do with... Yeah, Adversary says he streamed Metroid. That went well. Yeah, it has more to do with just lately, I'm not really all that hyped for anything they're making. But I do want to play Kirby, of course. And I wasn't a big Breath of the Wild guy. My favorite Nintendo game of the last generation was Legend of Zelda: Link Between Worlds. I just thought was fucking wonderful. It's not juvenile. I have a fucking Wii U that I haven't gotten rid of because I enjoyed my Wii U. Of course, Eternal Darkness is great. Are you excited for PSVR 2? No. I mean, we'll have to see. Because honestly, I'm about to buy an Oculus Quest 2. I love the wireless stuff. I know that Sony's going to have some games that are better, of course, but I don't know how they're going to do with their whole metaverse thing and social thing and exercise stuff. And that's the stuff that I like about VR more than just VR games. But if Sony says, hey, we're coming out with Ratchet and Clank, or we're coming out with Ghost of Tsushima 1 and 2, and there is going to be VR, not like I'm in the eyes of Jin Sakai, but the camera is going to be the same camera, but I can look around and it feels 3D, then I become very interested in PSVR 2. But Horizon, the Far Mountain, or whatever it is, that just, I mean, it's a teaser. You can't really judge it. But that doesn't do much for me. I've played plenty of VR games that put me on the ground level and there are giant things walking above me. I'm like, okay. But, yeah, I mean, I think the tech is very impressive. There's news on a MetaQuest this year with new controllers. Could be interesting. There's a new one? Or new controllers? I have no idea who they'll buy next. What I will tell you is I have fallen in love with using my Quest and the tap on the side that immediately opens up the view to the world and the hands. Then I need nothing. It's like a library book you're carrying around. I don't know, it has to be from the library, but it feels like just this portable thing that you slide on and it just works. I don't even need the controllers. I don't have to worry about batteries. It's just, and if I want to see, oh, is that the dog? Where's the dog? Light little tap. It feels so cool to go boop, boop. It's like Star Trek, and suddenly your VR goes away and you're looking at life through the cameras. It's fucking cool. But we'll see. Anyway, fellas, there you go. Rob the Mod, thank you as always. I hope you had a good time tonight, Rob. I didn't get to talk to you much. No calls tonight. We'll do calls tomorrow if anybody wants to call in. Fuck you, Tones. What's a library? You're going to hell, sir. Thank you for the new members. Thank you for the very generous super chats tonight. Very much appreciate it. Who are the mods I saw here tonight? Rob, thank you. I think I saw Rathy. Rathy, thank you. I think I saw Bukaki. Bukaki, thank you guys very much for keeping these fuck sticks on the straight and narrow. You know we need it. You know I appreciate it. And that's it. I'll see you guys next time, hopefully, if you come back. if you like it, if you hit if it hit the bell, blah, 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 blah. I don't want to ask you to like it. It seems wrong. It seems like going on a date with somebody. It's like, did you like me? How was I? It's like, if you like it, you like it. But if you do like it, hit the button, hit the thumbs up, because it does good for the algorithm. All right. Bacon Magma, I cannot make you a mod. I was going to. Here's the truth. I'm going to go to the screen real quick. Here's the truth. I can't make you a mod. Because I was talking to Rob the mod about it. I says, hey, we should make Bacon a mod. And Rob had a really good point. Rob says, we don't... Bacon is so all over the place. Sometimes he's a troll, and sometimes he is an absolute important member with great questions and all this stuff. And we love both of those sides of you, Bacon. But if you're more of a troll, we have found it very hard to ban someone and unban them. If I can figure out how to do it with YouTube, because it's supposed to be easy, but it's never worked for me, then I'll feel comfortable, and I think Rob would feel comfortable going, yeah, we'll try it. If you're a dick or if you're a troll, we'll take away the mod privileges and we will unban everyone that you ban just to be a dick. But I don't think you would do that. But Rob doesn't have ADD. And Rob's like, yeah, you don't want to be impulsive, Jaffe. You don't know that. And I think that's a smart choice given the way you've behaved on this stream. We love you, but you're like, you know what it is? You're like Mel Gibson in Lethal Weapon. You're a gun half-cocked, ready to go off. You're a wild card. We never know what you're going to do. And that's a scary place for people like us to be, Bacon. You have to understand. Fellas, that's Gabbing and Games. I'll see you soon. Thanks, everybody. Hit me back with a text. I was asking when you and Andrea want to have a conversation. So I'm mostly free, so we can schedule it. Thursday's bad. Oh shit, I got a bunch of stuff tomorrow. But the morning's bad, but other than that I can do it later in the week or the weekend or next week. Let me know.